You have people who are depressed because they're in a depression spiral of constantly seeing people outperform them. You have women who are depressed because they're not happy with their boyfriend because they've seen girls with boyfriends who get G-Wagons full of roses and private jet flights, and their boyfriend can't afford it. And they sit there and go, why does this girl deserve all of these things when I don't have these things? Well, the truth is because she's a prostitute. That's why, but they don't say that. So you're sitting there being envious of a prostitute, a life you wouldn't even really want if you knew the truth of it. So the algo is the matrix now, and it's got everybody going down these rabbit holes, whether it's highlight reels of people's lives, or there are other people who they put something up which is negative. They show sadness, they show that they're depressed, they cry, and they get more attention than they've ever had. So what does that do to the human mind? If I show that my life is terrible, I get more attention, more recognition, more validation than I've ever had at any point in my life. Well, let me do that again. Let me just not, the next day I'm not gonna say it's fine. You're gonna do that again, and that becomes your entire personality. The algorithms are controlling everybody. And that's the matrix. This is here we are, because society by and large, I mean, even me now, I go on Twitter, I can't tell what's real and what's fake anymore. It's impossible to even tell what's real and what's fake. You can't tell who's real, you can't tell who's fake. All of this is completely organized to push people in certain directions. And if you want to truly be yourself now, you have to get to the point where you just unplug. Social media used to be about showing your real life and trying to be a real person and being able to achieve validation globally for doing that, but I don't think that's the case anymore. I think the only way you can be a real person now is to turn that crap off, because these algos are so smart at pushing people in certain directions, and nobody who's watching this at home can be honest and say that they're immune to it. Nobody's immune to it. They decide what we care about. Like, what's you're shown on the algo is what you're gonna be obsessed with. All the news cycles that we have thought we'd never forget. The Epstein files was the biggest deal in the world 6 days ago. Everyone was talking about it 6 days ago. Now it's Dubai is gonna collapse, supposedly. And next week it'll be something else. Forrest Gump. If you ever watch that movie, in the beginning of the movie, it starts with him on a bus stop. But before you see him on a bus stop, you see a feather floating in the wind. And the story is that his life path was just, he's a guy being pushed from place to place. He didn't really have any control over any of the things that happened to him. And that's how most people live their lives. They're a feather in the wind of algorithms, which is pushing their attention from place to place, deciding what they care about, deciding how they feel. Imagine waking up in your house with your wife or your husband or whoever and your child, and you've got your job, you've got your savings, you've got your hobbies, you play paddle, you do whatever, you've got your entire life, and you wake up and you open your phone. The first video you see can decide whether you have a good day or a bad day. Think about that. You could be on the bus or the tram or in your Mercedes or in your fucking Pagani, whatever, on your way to work, and you can see a video of someone who had something terrible happen to them that makes you feel grateful for your life. You could see a couple in love that makes you feel grateful for your partner. Or you could see some prostitute on a yacht who's partying and you're sitting in traffic. And now your day is ruined. The algorithm has controlled how you view your own life. And these people still believe they're sentient. And this is the world we now live in. The algorithm decides who's liked, who's hated, who tells the truth, who lies. This is the reality of everything. So, you know, going back to your earlier question, how are you really feeling? Well, I think that's not up to people anymore. I don't think people decide how they really feel. I think the Instagram and TikTok algorithm decides how people feel now. And that's what's scary, because who knows how these things work? Who elected these people? Who's in charge of these things? What money pools are behind these things? So it's a scary world. And I guess perhaps part of my detachment from my emotion, part of me saying, I'm gonna do X things. I have certain objectives I'm gonna complete irregardless of how I feel. If I'm monumentally depressed and suicidal, or in the best mood I've ever been in, it's gonna change absolutely nothing about my performance. These things are gonna be done, and they're gonna be done to the best of my ability irregardless. I think the reason I've done that and detached myself from my emotions is to reduce the power algorithms have over me. If you piss me off, I still do the same things as I do if I was happy. If you make me happy, I do the same things I do if I was pissed off. So you can't beat me, you can't control me, because all you can do is influence my emotions, and my emotions don't control me. You have to detach from your human side to a degree. You have to pre-decide, these are what things I'm gonna do, here's how I'm gonna conduct myself, these is the way I'm gonna act, these are the things that will be done, and when all of those are done, I am fine. How am I really doing? My things were done. The algorithm tried to upset me, it tried really hard. It tried to piss me off. But even if it succeeded, I did the same things. And I think that the easiest way to look at life, especially as a man, is in that very simple paternal regard. You are the son of your father. You carry your father's last name. You are here to represent him into eternity. It is your job to not only create sons, but be the kind of father to your sons that can create a lasting legacy for your father, their grandfather. So I think my primary objective on earth is to be the son of my father. I think this is the best thing I can possibly be. I try my very best to be as competent and successful as possible because this is a man's primary objective, is power and resources. This is what we're here for. Our primary objectives are not to be happy. Our primary objectives are not to be content. You know, I've had this conversation so many times with women I'm dating or whatever. They're like, but what makes you happy? I'm like, I don't need to be happy. I need to be rich and powerful. Stop talking. I have things to do. They're like, yeah, but you're stressed. Of course I am, because I'm trying to win. How am I going to win without being stressed? How are you going to win without being stressed, ever? How are you going to succeed without going to war, ever? Everything you want, everyone else wants. You either want to go take it off them or you're going to let them have it. I can avoid stress if I work in Starbucks and smoke weed and play video games all day, but then I'm a fucking loser. Then I'm not my father's son anymore. I actually have this outlandish, crazy theory that basically everybody is the same level of stressed, depressed, and anxious, irregardless of their situation. I would say that the most famous, well-known rich people on the planet, or the people who can barely pay their bills, everyone is feeling the same level of stress, depression, and anxiety. And how people deal with that is the difference in the personalities as opposed to whether they feel it or not. Because there are people out there who sit and believe, if only I had this and this, I wouldn't feel this way anymore. Or this person's life's fantastic, they must not be stressed or anxious. And none of that's true. Because problems are relative. I've caught myself doing this. I'll have a huge gargantuan problem. For example, 25 years in a Romanian jail. And I'll have a huge issue to deal with. And it's all I think about. And it stresses me out. And the second I fix that problem, the next day the gardener doesn't show up. And I'm just as angry about the gardener not showing up as I was about perhaps losing my entire life to Romanian jail. I'm like, why is the grass not cut? I paid this guy early. He asked for money. Now he hasn't turned up. He's drunk. Find me a new gardener. Before you know it, I'm just as mad about a small problem as I was about the big problem because I've solved the big problem. So even if you have a fantastic life, you're always going to have small issues. And I feel like you just make the problems bigger if there's no big problem to fill the space. I think everybody is basically the same level of stressed. Everybody has something they're preoccupied with. Everybody has a degree of anxiety. Everybody has something they're not happy with. Everyone to a degree is slightly depressed about X, Y, Z. And the difference in the personalities are simply the people who complain about it, talk about it all the time, or let it get them down, as opposed to the people who say, okay, well, this is the human condition. This is how life is supposed to be. I'm an adult, and I'm never going to be happy like a child ever again. So this is how I'm gonna deal with my life. I'm gonna look at all the problems, accept them as serious, and smile anyway. So I don't think anybody is any happier than anyone else, to be honest. And the reason people think there are some people happier than them is simply because they have a better social media editor. They have a better camera. You know, they can capture the right angle and get a good edit. And then they can convince the entire population at home that they're happier than everyone else around them, because that's what social media is. It's an envy tool. The primary objective of social media is to try and convince other people to envy you. And there's some people who are pretty good at it. And there's some fools out there, unfortunately, who believe it. They'll look at somebody on a holiday having the time of their life, and they'll sit there and go, man, I wish I could afford that holiday. But if you could really see that holiday outside of the edits, and you could see all the waiting at the airport, all the lines to get to the tourist attraction, how many times they had to try and take that picture with no one in the background, the time they argued with their boyfriend, their credit card got lost, that if you go through it all, you'd be like, that even doesn't even look fun. One thing I noticed about life, and you probably know about this as well, but especially if you have an online life, having fun and filming yourself or recording yourself having fun are completely different things. Like if I go out in my Bugatti to have fun and then we try and film it, it looks awful. If we try and record me having fun in the Bugatti, it's like, okay, back, forth, no, do it again, no, turn around, do it again. Okay, when you do it this time, window down. Okay, you end up doing it, it's like a Hollywood movie, and by the end you're having no fun at all to try and get this edit where you're having fun. And that's the lesson for these people you see who are on holiday or doing all these amazing things. If it looks too fun, they've tried too hard to make it look that fun, meaning they've had no fun. And this is the, man, I see this all the time. You see girls sitting there on their phone, bored, They don't even want to be there, but I guess, you know, their boyfriend's paying their rent, so they have to be. And they're sitting there, and then they get their phone out, they start their Instagram story. So the story is them partying, but the reality is they're miserable. But they'll put the act on for the full 6 seconds. And this is why people are caught in these spirals, in these traps of believing people are happier than them and that they're more miserable than others, because everything is comparative. But truthfully, the secret to everyone at home is that everybody is the same. Everybody has the same degree of stress, anxiety, depression, irregardless of their personal circumstances. That's what I truthfully believe. I don't believe anyone's really any happier than anyone else. It's just about having the mental fortitude to say, I don't care whether all these bad things are happening. I'm going to smile anyway. This is the secret to life.